Have you ever walked away from a moment with her and felt it in your chest before you could explain it in your head? The lingering eye contact, the subtle shift in her voice, the way she finds reasons to be close without ever saying the words outright. Attraction, especially for many women, rarely begins with bold declarations. It unfolds in glances, in pauses, in the quiet choreography of two bodies slowly leaning toward each other. If you know how to read the signals, you'll realize she's been speaking volumes all along. One of the most powerful ways she shows she's into you is through the quality of her attention. When a woman is genuinely attracted, she doesn't just listen to your words, she studies you. Her eyes linger a second longer than necessary, not in a casual way, but in a searching, curious way, as if she's mapping your face and memorizing your reactions. She asks follow-up questions that show she was paying attention to the smallest details, the kind you didn't even think were important. Attraction sharpens focus. In a room full of noise and distraction, her body subtly angles toward you. Her feet point in your direction, her shoulders open rather than close off. These are unconscious signals, and that's what makes them so honest. Another quiet but undeniable sign is the way she initiates proximity. She finds reasons to sit beside you instead of across from you. In a group setting, she drifts closer over time. Her knee brushes yours, and instead of pulling away immediately, she lets it linger just long enough to test the moment. Physical closeness is rarely accidental when attraction is present. It's a low-risk way of exploring chemistry. If she adjusts her position to mirror yours, leaning in when you lean in, lowering her voice when you lower yours, that mirroring is a deep biological cue of connection. Our bodies naturally sync with people we feel safe and drawn to. Then, there's the way she touches you, and this is where subtlety becomes electric. A playful tap on your arm when she laughs, fingers grazing your shoulder as she walks past, straightening your collar, or brushing imaginary lint off your shirt. These are not random gestures. Touch is intimate currency. When she creates small, socially acceptable excuses to bridge the physical gap, she's testing comfort and inviting escalation without ever having to verbalize desire. Watch her reaction after the touch. Does she hold eye contact? Does her smile soften? Does her breathing shift slightly? Attraction often shows up in the spaces between movements. Her voice is another powerful indicator. When a woman is into you, her tone changes. It may become warmer, slightly lower, slower. She may tease you more, playful banter replacing polite conversation. Teasing is flirtation in disguise. It creates tension and invites you into a shared rhythm. If she remembers inside jokes and brings them back later, that's emotional investment. She's building a private world between the two of you. And when she laughs, notice whether she looks at you to see if you're laughing too. Shared laughter is bonding. It's her way of checking alignment. Another revealing sign is vulnerability. When she opens up about personal experiences, especially ones that carry emotional weight, she's not just making conversation, she's offering trust. Attraction is not only physical, it's emotional exposure. If she tells you about her fears, her childhood memories, her dreams for the future, she is inviting you into spaces she doesn't open to everyone. Pay attention to timing. If these disclosures happen early, it suggests she feels a strong pull. Vulnerability accelerates when chemistry is real. Jealousy, even in its lightest form, can also be a signal. If you mention another woman and she subtly shifts, asking extra questions or going quieter for a moment, that reaction speaks volumes. It's not about possessiveness. It's about perceived competition. When someone matters, the idea of losing their attention stings. You might notice her energy spike when other women are around you, becoming more animated, more engaged, almost as if she's reminding you of her presence without stating it outright. That's attraction expressing itself through competition. She also invests in how she presents herself around you. This isn't about vanity, it's about intention. If she adjusts her hair when you're talking, checks her reflection briefly, or dresses with noticeable care when she knows she'll see you, those are effort signals. Effort is one of the clearest indicators of interest. People do not invest time and energy without emotional incentive. Even subtle grooming behaviors during conversation, like smoothing her skirt or applying lip balm while maintaining eye contact, can signal heightened self-awareness around you. It means she cares how you perceive her. Another powerful cue lies in how she responds to your absence. Does she text you first sometimes, finding reasons to continue the conversation? Does she send you something that reminded her of you? Attraction lingers beyond physical presence. If she initiates contact without needing a practical reason, she's prioritizing connection. And when she responds quickly, adding depth rather than one-word replies, she's sustaining momentum. Energy matched and returned is a sign of genuine engagement. Notice also the way she reacts when you compliment her. If she deflects but blushes, if she smiles and then grows momentarily shy, that mixture of confidence and softness often reveals that your opinion matters to her. Indifference looks different. Indifference shrugs off praise, attraction absorbs it. Her body language, during quiet moments, can be the loudest signal of all. When conversation pauses, does it feel awkward or charged? If she maintains eye contact in silence, there's tension there. If her gaze drops briefly to your lips and then back to your eyes, that fleeting movement carries desire. Our eyes reveal what our mouths hesitate to say. In intimate proximity, breathing patterns can sync. You may notice the air between you feels heavier, slower. These physiological shifts are not coincidence. They are chemistry manifesting in the body. Perhaps one of the most telling signs is how she makes space for you in her life. She invites you to events, introduces you to friends, mentions you in future plans, even casually. When someone envisions you in their tomorrow, even hypothetically, that's emotional projection. It's her way of testing how you fit into her world. And if her friends already know about you before you meet them, that's an even clearer signal. Women often process attraction verbally with their inner circle. If you've become a topic of discussion, you've crossed from casual acquaintance into romantic interest. Finally, observe how she responds to emotional intimacy. When you share something vulnerable, does she lean in, soften, reciprocate? Attraction deepens when emotional doors open both ways. If she validates your feelings and offers her own in return, she's building connection deliberately. Intimacy is not rushed, it is layered. She may not say she's into you outright, because sometimes saying it feels too exposed, too final. Instead, she communicates through patterns, repeated closeness, consistent warmth, a steady escalation of comfort. None of these signs alone guarantees desire, but together they form a mosaic that is difficult to misread. Attraction is rarely a single dramatic gesture. It is an accumulation of subtle invitations, each one asking the same quiet question without ever voicing it. And when you begin to recognize this next sign, you realize that sometimes the strongest signal of all isn't in what she does when things are easy, but in how she behaves when tension rises and the possibility of something deeper hangs unspoken in the air. Because in those charged moments when vulnerability and desire intersect, her actions will reveal even more than her words ever could. And that is where the real story begins to unfold, as you start to see that what happens when that tension surfaces and neither of you names it, yet both of you feel it. When a woman is truly into you, the moments of heightened emotional charge do not push her away. They pull her closer in subtle but unmistakable ways. Watch how she handles silence when it becomes intimate rather than awkward. If she holds your gaze just a fraction longer than comfort normally allows, if her pupils seem to widen, if her lips part slightly as though she's about to say something but chooses not to, that hesitation is often loaded with desire. There is a difference between someone enduring a moment and someone savoring it. When she lingers in it with you, she is choosing the connection. Another powerful signal reveals itself in how she reacts to your confidence and your boundaries. Attraction deepens when she senses grounded masculinity or steady presence. If she challenges you playfully, testing your reactions with teasing remarks or light sarcasm, it is often an invitation to engage in flirtatious tension. This isn't conflict, it's chemistry. She wants to see if you can hold your frame while matching her energy. If you respond calmly and confidently and she smiles, relaxes, or escalates the playfulness, that dynamic exchange is her way of building polarity. Polarity is the spark between two distinct energies leaning toward each other. She may also start to reveal subtle possessiveness in ways that feel more curious than controlling. She might joke about you being her favorite, or lightly claim you in group settings with humor woven into her tone. Humor becomes a shield for sincerity. It allows her to express interest without risking outright rejection. When she invests in shared experiences, the signal grows stronger. If she suggests activities, remembers places you mentioned wanting to visit, or follows up on ideas you once casually floated, she is weaving continuity. Attraction seeks momentum. She does not want the connection to stall. Even something as simple as sending you a song that captures a mood between you is layered with intention. Music is emotional shorthand. When she shares it, she is communicating feeling indirectly. Pay attention to her nervous system around you. Attraction often manifests as heightened energy. She may fidget slightly, adjust her jewelry, play with her hair, or shift in her seat when you are close. These micro-movements are not signs of discomfort, but stimulation. The body becomes more alert around someone it desires. You might notice her breathing deepen when your conversations turn more personal. You might feel her lean subtly into your space when laughter fades into a softer exchange. There is also the way she protects the connection. If a misunderstanding arises, does she try to clarify rather than withdraw? Indifference walks away easily. Interest seeks repair. If she circles back to resolve tension instead of letting it dissolve into distance, she values what is forming between you. Emotional effort is a profound indicator of attraction because it requires vulnerability. When she expresses appreciation for qualities beyond the surface, the depth becomes undeniable. If she compliments your mindset, your ambition, your kindness, or your emotional intelligence, she is seeing you as more than a casual flirtation. Physical attraction may spark the initial pull, but emotional admiration sustains it. A woman who is into you begins to imagine what it would feel like to be chosen by you, not just touched by you. Her curiosity about your past relationships can also signal interest. If she asks what you're looking for, what you've learned from previous experiences, or what kind of partner aligns with you, she is evaluating compatibility. These are not idle questions. They are assessments framed as conversation. She wants to know where she stands in your romantic landscape. When attraction deepens, her laughter becomes more uninhibited around you. She feels freer. She might show you a sillier side, a more playful or even slightly mischievous version of herself. Authenticity increases with comfort, and comfort increases with desire. She trusts that you will receive her without judgment. Another intimate cue lies in the way she handles physical distance over time. If she initiates hugs that last just a moment longer than socially required, if her hands rest on your back before sliding away slowly, if she doesn't rush to break contact, she is stretching the moment. Attraction stretches time. It makes seconds feel deliberate. When she walks beside you, notice whether her arm brushes yours and stays close rather than widening the gap. These gestures are invitations wrapped in subtlety. She may also reveal her interest through protectiveness of your attention. If you're distracted by your phone, she might lightly comment or attempt to recapture your focus with humor or touch. Attention is currency in attraction. When she wants it, it means she values it. And when she gives you undivided presence, especially in a world saturated with distractions. That is intimacy in its earliest form. A woman who is into you often begins to align her rhythm with yours. If you speak slowly, she slows down. If you grow more serious, her tone follows. This emotional mirroring is subconscious bonding. It builds safety. Safety allows desire to surface. In deeper conversations, she may test emotional waters by asking hypothetical questions about relationships, loyalty, intimacy, or future scenarios. These hypotheticals are rarely random. They are glimpses into what she is imagining privately. She wants to see how your values align with hers without directly exposing her own longing. Attraction also shows in patience. If she gives you space without disappearing, if she maintains warmth even when you are busy, she is demonstrating secure interest rather than anxious chasing. Stability is seductive. It signals that her attraction is grounded rather than impulsive. At the same time, you might sense an undercurrent of anticipation in her energy when you reconnect after time apart. The greeting feels charged. Her smile reaches her eyes. There is relief mixed with excitement. That emotional contrast reveals investment. One of the most intimate signs is how she responds to sexual tension before anything physical truly happens. If a flirtatious comment lingers in the air and she doesn't deflect it, but instead holds eye contact or subtly escalates the playfulness, she is comfortable with the chemistry. She may bite her lip unconsciously, tilt her head, or lower her voice. These signals are primal. They bypass language. She is not declaring desire outright, but she is not shutting it down either. She is allowing it to exist between you. And when a woman allows tension to breathe instead of suffocating it with platonic distance, that is a powerful indicator that she feels it too. As attraction matures, you may notice that she seeks emotional reassurance indirectly. She might ask if you missed her, or comment on how much she enjoys spending time with you, watching your reaction carefully. She wants to know if the feeling is mutual without risking outright confession. This dance of subtle confirmation is common in early romantic dynamics. Neither person wants to overexpose themselves too quickly. What makes these signals so compelling is that they are cumulative. Each glance, each touch, each moment of vulnerability adds another layer. Alone, they might be ambiguous. Together, they form a pattern of intentional closeness. And as that pattern strengthens, something shifts in the dynamic. The unspoken becomes almost tangible. The air between you feels different. Conversations carry undertones. Even ordinary moments begin to feel charged with possibility. It is in this stage that the final and perhaps most revealing signs begin to emerge. Because when a woman truly wants you, not just your attention but your presence, your energy, your intimacy, she begins to move from subtle invitation to quiet alignment. And that alignment reveals itself in ways that leave very little room for doubt once you understand what you are looking at. Because at that point, the connection is no longer just potential. It is building towards something real, something embodied, something that shifts both of you from curiosity into conscious awareness of what is unfolding between you. Because at that point, the connection is no longer just potential. It is embodied in the way she begins to integrate you into her emotional world with intention rather than impulse. When a woman is truly into you, her behavior shifts from testing chemistry to nurturing continuity. She stops interacting with you as a possibility and starts relating to you as someone who matters. You see it in how she references shared memories, even small ones, as though they hold weight. She'll say, "Remember when we talked about that late at night?" Or "I was thinking about what you said the other day." That reflection is emotional anchoring. She is replaying moments because they meant something to her. Attraction at this stage is no longer just physical curiosity, it is attachment forming quietly under the surface. You may notice that her affection becomes more intentional, not overwhelming, not forced, but steady. The warmth in her voice when she says your name, the softness in her eyes when you're not even doing anything impressive, just existing. There's a difference between being admired for performance and being desired for presence. When she's into you, your mere presence regulates her. She relaxes around you. Her laughter flows easier. Her posture opens naturally. Safety and attraction begin to intertwine. And that combination is powerful because desire without safety burns fast and fades. But desire with safety deepens. Watch how she handles moments of physical closeness when escalation becomes possible. If you're sitting near each other and the space between you narrows, does she hold the tension or abruptly create distance? A woman who feels genuine attraction may not make the first overt move, but she will allow the moment to breathe. She won't rush to label it awkward. Her gaze might drop briefly to your lips and then return to your eyes. That fleeting glance is instinctual. It is the body acknowledging desire before the mind finds language for it. And if you move slightly closer and she mirrors instead of retreating, that mirroring is consent to intimacy's edge. Another profound sign is how she supports your growth. Attraction that matures into something meaningful carries investment. She encourages your ambitions. She celebrates your wins. She checks in on your goals. This is not casual flirting anymore. This is alignment. She sees herself connected to your trajectory. When a woman envisions you long-term, even subconsciously, she begins rooting for your evolution because your future and hers start to feel intertwined. Emotional intimacy also becomes more layered. She doesn't just share surface-level stories. She reveals contradictions, insecurities, complex thoughts. She allows you to see the unpolished edges. That is trust expanding. And trust is the soil where sexual chemistry transforms into real intimacy. Physical desire may have sparked the connection, but emotional transparency is what makes it sustainable. You might also notice that conflict, when it arises, carries care rather than indifference. If something you say bothers her, she communicates it instead of withdrawing permanently. That willingness to engage means she values resolution. People fight for what they fear losing. Even in disagreement, there is an undercurrent of wanting to understand each other. That emotional effort is intimacy in action. There is also a subtle shift in exclusivity cues. She may not demand commitment, but she becomes more attentive to how you engage with other women. Not in a dramatic way, but in a watchful one. Her questions become slightly more specific. Her energy changes subtly if she perceives divided attention. This is not insecurity by default, it is emotional investment surfacing. The more she feels connected, the more she subconsciously assesses whether you are equally anchored. And then there is the most intimate signal of all, the way she responds when you lead emotionally. If you create space for vulnerability, if you express appreciation, if you set clear intentions, does she open further or pull back? A woman who is into you will meet grounded leadership with softness rather than resistance. She wants to feel chosen as much as she wants to choose. When you communicate clearly and she responds with warmth, trust, and deeper engagement, that reciprocity is the confirmation many men overlook. Attraction is not proven by grand gestures. It is proven by consistent emotional return. At the height of mutual tension, when a moment feels suspended in possibility, her body will often tell the truth her words hesitate to say. Her breathing slows, her pupils widen, her fingers may trace absent patterns against her own skin or lightly against yours. There is a heightened awareness, a quiet electricity, and if you close the distance slowly, giving her space to opt out, and she remains, eyes soft, lips parted slightly, shoulders relaxed rather than stiff, that is her saying yes without speaking. The absence of withdrawal is often as meaningful as active pursuit. But beyond all these signals, the deepest indicator that she is into you without saying it lies in consistency. Anyone can flirt once. Anyone can hold eye contact in a charged moment. But sustained warmth, repeated effort, ongoing curiosity, emotional presence across time, that is intentional. When her energy toward you is not sporadic, but reliable. When she continues to invest even after the novelty phase fades, That is authentic attraction evolving toward intimacy. And here is the insight that ties everything together. Women often communicate desire relationally rather than declaratively. Instead of announcing, "I want you," they build a dynamic where wanting is felt. They create moments where closeness becomes natural, where touch feels inevitable, where vulnerability unfolds gradually. If you are attentive, emotionally present, and respectful of boundaries, you will see that the signs are rarely hidden. They are simply quiet. The real question is not whether she is showing interest, but whether you are grounded enough to notice it without forcing it. Because when you understand these cues, you stop chasing validation and start recognizing alignment. You respond rather than pursue blindly. You co-create tension rather than manufacture it. And that shift changes everything. Attraction becomes less about guessing and more about attunement. Intimacy becomes less about performance and more about presence. When a woman is into you without saying it, she is inviting you into a dance. The glances, the touches, the questions, the vulnerability, the consistency, they are all steps. If you move with awareness, patience, and confidence, the unspoken transforms into something undeniable. And in that space, where desire is mutual and respect is intact, words eventually become unnecessary because both of you already feel the truth long before it is ever spoken out loud.